What mysteries will be revealed when the Euphrates River dries up? Will submerged civilizations finally emerge? Will the secrets of humanity's origins in the cradle finally be revealed? Come along with the shocked researchers as they make an unbelievable discovery. When the Euphrates River runs dry, it is believed that significant events are on the horizon, potentially even the second coming of Jesus Christ and the rapture, according to the Bible. These occurrences are thought to occur simultaneously. In the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, it is said that the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. It wouldn't be fair to exaggerate the situation, yet it seems that the deadline is getting closer. Along with the Tigris, the Euphrates is one of the two major rivers that flows into the Persian Gulf from modern-day Syria and Iraq. The other significant river is the Tigris. Mesopotamia, which is home to some of the world's most ancient civilizations, has thrived for thousands of years as a result of the two rivers that run through the region. Nevertheless, it has been evident for decades that the Tigris-Euphrates River system is on its way to drying out. An assessment that was conducted by the government in 2021 and published in 2021 anticipated that droughts and falling water levels caused by climate change could dry up the rivers by 2040. The Tigris and Euphrates river basins are currently experiencing the second fastest rate of groundwater storage depletion on the planet, behind only India. It is inconceivable that the Euphrates River, which used to traverse the geographic heart of ancient Mesopotamia, could ever have run dry. Its waters have slowly drained, revealing an intriguing tableau that has historians and archaeologists scratching their heads in perplexity. This scene has been slowly uncovered. Archaeological monuments that have been forgotten for a long time have been discovered in the murky depths of the river. These sites offer a look into the prosperous civilizations that once thrived in that region. The newly discovered sites, which date back to a variety of time periods, are essential to gaining an understanding of the beginnings of human civilization. The relics and buildings that have been submerged for millennia beneath the seas are currently the focus of a mad dash by specialists and academics as they attempt to document and preserve them. As the ruins of old communities, temples, and burial grounds lie exposed to the elements, we are in a race against time to conduct research and protect these one-of-a-kind cultural heritage sites. As people all over the world watch this remarkable event play out, as the Euphrates River's receding waters attract explorers and researchers to unravel the mysteries of a bygone era, there is a rising sense of awe and respect for the ancient civilizations that once flourished in this area. In particular, there is a growing sense of wonder and respect for the ancient civilizations that once flourished in this area. Turkey, Syria, and Iraq are just few of the countries that place a high value on the river. Saudi Arabia also places a significant emphasis on the river. Its rivers, which pass through the geographic cores of numerous countries, are important to the survival of those nations in many different ways. The river's source is in the mountainous region of eastern Turkey, and as it travels through arid regions, it provides those regions with the water and nutrients they so desperately require. Because it supplies water for agriculture and generates energy for hydroelectric projects, the river is extremely important to Turkey's economy. Additionally, it prepares the way for commercial activity and trade, both of which are beneficial to the economy and aid in the process of bringing people together. Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, all of which are located further downstream, are extremely dependent on the river's supplies for agricultural and irrigating purposes. The flow of the river makes it possible for farmers in these countries to cultivate food for their households and their own families. The river is also significant culturally and historically due to the fact that it has played a part in the formation of the identities of the regions that it flows through and has seen the rise and fall of ancient civilizations. Because of the river's significance to the economies and ecosystems of both countries, it serves as a driving force that brings them closer together. Rivers, due of the water supply they provide, have always played a significant role in the development of historical empires and civilizations. This significance has been consistent throughout history. Rivers have been a very significant contributor to the expansion and development of ancient cultures over the course of the time period spanning the history of humanity. Rivers have been essential to the continued existence of a large number of different civilizations. Due to the fact that they provide access to water that may be utilized for a variety of purposes, including drinking, agriculture, transportation, and business. From the Nile in ancient Egypt to the Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia, rivers have always served as a source of the resources that are necessary for the continued existence of humans, as well as the expansion of their economic systems. The accessibility of these rivers, which assisted in the development of agricultural practices, allowed for the establishment of both permanent communities as well as the production of crops. This made it possible for both to take place. The persistent flooding of rivers resulted in the deposition of nutrient-rich sediments, which made the area ideal for farming and ensured that it would continue to be fertile. The river served as natural transportation routes, which made it simpler for people to engage in commerce and trade. It was easy for people to trade goods, ideas, and technology with one another along these canals, because transportation along these waterways was relatively straightforward. This helped to the dissemination of cultural traditions as well as the rise of the economy. Cities and empires sprouted up along the riverbanks as a result of the strategic advantages offered by their close proximity to commercial trade routes and sources of fresh water. The growth of these cities and empires can be directly attributed to these advantages. Rivers have been instrumental in the development and growth of historical civilizations and empires, playing a critical part in both processes. Because of this, rivers have had a significant impact on the overall course of human history and have left an indelible impression on the cultures that have developed in close proximity to rivers. In recent years, a variety of countries' tensions have become increasingly tense as a result of the allocation of water resources. One of the primary causes of this conflict is the competition over water resources. As a result of the widening gap between supply and demand for this critical resource, which is becoming increasingly difficult to obtain, disputes and wars break out between nations over the distribution of fresh water. This is because the availability of fresh water is becoming increasingly harder to locate. The unequal distribution of water sources is a serious problem that is made worse by the expansion in the world's population as well as by climate change. While some countries have been blessed with abundant water resources, others are contending with severe water scarcity issues. Water scarcity is a problem in many parts of the world. This disparity has resulted in anger, as resource-rich nations have been accused of hoarding water and limiting its availability to their neighbors in order to maximize their own use. The construction of dams and other projects that redirect water contributes to the already existing difficulties by making the problem even worse. Upstream countries frequently disrupt the natural flow of rivers as they work towards their goals of capturing water for the purposes of irrigation and power generation. This has a negative impact on the nations located further downstream, whose livelihoods depend on the rivers and other waterways in question. These arguments over the distribution of water have far-reaching repercussions, which can have an influence not just on agriculture, but also on the expansion of industry and the overall stability of regions. Cooperation and the implementation of water management practices are going to be essential if we are going to find solutions that are equitable and reduce the possibility of future conflicts brought on by the shortage of this increasingly valued resource. The drying out of the river had a significant impact on the landscape, which resulted in the discovery of relics that date back hundreds of years. Ancient cities and tombs that were buried underwater by vanished civilizations have just begun to emerge from their watery graves. The tombs and burial chambers that were uncovered provided a priceless treasure trove of historical information. Researchers from all over the world converged on the ruins of these ancient civilizations with the goal of gaining further insight into the culture and history of the people who lived there. New information regarding the people who had inhabited this region in the past was gleaned from the discovery of artifacts as well as skeletal remains. The abandoned cities, which were once flourishing hubs of business and culture, now stand as solemn monuments to the passage of time. The crumbling walls and dilapidated structures created a striking contrast to the vivid memories that had been housed within them in the past. The drying out of the river has lifted the shroud of mystery, making the formerly concealed urban landscapes and architectural marvels visible. As individuals from all parts of the world gazed in awe at these priceless relics, they were brought face to face with the reality that life is unpredictable and that our planet is in a state of constant flux. The building of dams has had a negative impact on the amount of water that flows through rivers, which has led to considerable negative effects on the environment. These buildings, which are meant to harness the power of moving water for various reasons such as the generation of electricity and the supply of water, frequently result in the change of natural river ecosystems as well as the disruption of water flow patterns. These issues are commonly caused by these constructions. The disruption of the natural flow of water in rivers is one of the most significant problems that might result from the construction of dams. Reservoirs are formed as a result of dam storage of significant amounts of water, which impedes the river's natural flow. As a direct consequence of this, places further downstream have their water supply cut back, which results in lower water levels and disrupts the delicate equilibrium of aquatic environments. A decrease in water flow can throw off the reproductive cycles of fish, prevent the transfer of sediments that are important for the upkeep of riverbeds, and reduce the amount of water that is available for irrigation and drinking for the communities that are in the surrounding area. The building of dams frequently requires the flooding of large sections of land in order to create reservoirs. As a result, local residents are forced to relocate, and important agricultural land, forest land, and wildlife habitats are destroyed in the process. The flooding of land can lead to a loss of biodiversity since a great number of species are either forced to relocate or see their habitats become fragmented. In addition, the reservoir's submerged flora and organic materials are a source of greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to the progression of climate change. The changing water levels that can result from the construction of dams can have a cascade effect on the ecosystems and economics of areas further downstream. Because of the reduction in the amount of sediment that is transported, river deltas, which must have consistent sediment deposition in order to preserve their structure and fertility, are at risk of suffering from sediment hunger. This can result in the erosion of land, an increase in salinity, and the loss of coastal wetland areas, all of which have the potential to have an adverse effect on local fisheries and the lives of those who depend on these ecosystems. It is impossible to overlook the fact that dams have unfavorable effects on river water levels, despite the fact that they offer essential benefits, such as the generation of renewable energy and the storage of water. Alternative approaches, such as the run-of-river projects or small-scale dams, which have decreased environmental footprints, should be considered in order to alleviate the effects of these impacts. It is essential to conduct a detailed assessment of the ecological and social implications of dam building. In addition, the implementation of sustainable water management strategies, such as the conservation of water and the restoration of natural river flow patterns, can help mitigate the negative effects on river water levels and protect the health of these important ecosystems. These activities include efficient water use and the restoration of natural river flow patterns. Millions of people believe the Bible's account that the Euphrates River would dry up just before the second coming of Jesus Christ is really true. This significant link, which can be discovered in the book of Revelation, has the attention of believers all around the world. The Bible predicts that in the latter times, the Euphrates River, a symbol of authority, stability, and civilization, will miraculously dry up. This unprecedented occurrence heralds the imminent return of Jesus Christ to earth and sets the stage for the final conflict between good and evil known as Armageddon. There are those who take this biblical verse at its value, while others interpret it as a metaphor for global upheaval. Nonetheless, believers are filled with anticipation and hope as they await the fulfillment of these prophecies because of the correlation between the drying of the Euphrates and key events and the second coming. The influence of this biblical connection on believers is undeniable. It has and will continue to spark introspection and debate about humanity's ultimate fate, regardless of